By October 1943, the 8th Air Force was bleeding to death over Europe, losing bomber crews at such catastrophic rates that commanders openly questioned whether daylight precision bombing was survivable at all. On the Schweinfurt-Regensburg mission, 60 B-17s vanished in a single day, then 77 more in the second Schweinfurt raid. Losses so severe that statistically no crew had real hope of completing a 25-mission tour. Empty heartstands across English bases told the truth each morning as surviving crews counted how many planes failed to return. And the pattern was unmistakable. The deeper into Germany the bombers flew, the more German fighters swarmed them after American escorts were forced to turn back at the fighter line, where P-47 Thunderbolts simply ran out of range and could no longer protect them, leaving the formations exposed to disciplined Luftwaffe attacks that exploited every weakness in American doctrine. Tight combat boxes of overlapping .50 caliber guns were supposed to be impenetrable, yet German pilots struck head-on where fire coverage was weakest or isolated stragglers damaged by flak, knowing full well that a bomber out of formation was a dead bomber. General Ira Eaker faced an impossible equation: strategic targets deep in the Reich ball-bearing factories, refineries, aircraft plants had to be destroyed, yet escort fighters couldn't reach them. Bomber losses were unsustainable, night bombing was too inaccurate, and waiting for longer-range escorts meant giving Germany time to recover. Behind the statistics were real human costs: entire crews lost together, families receiving telegrams, and surviving airmen flying each mission knowing their odds worsened every time. The P-51 Mustang was arriving, new tactics were being drafted, but the fundamental question remained: how do you keep fighters with bombers all the way to target and back? The surprising answer would come from a group of pilots expected to fail the Tuskegee Airmen of the 99th Fighter Squadron, who arrived in North Africa in April 1943, carrying a burden no white pilot ever carried, trained under a War Department that never wanted them, and commanded by Lieutenant Colonel Benjamin O. Davis, Jr., a man who spent for silent, isolated years at West Point and understood exactly how institutional racism worked. Despite flying well over Sicily, early commanders dismissed their success as luck and doubted their intelligence and reflexes, using the very lack of opportunities they were denied as proof against them. When the full 332nd Fighter Group arrived in Italy in January 1944, now flying P-47s from Ramatelli, bomber crews did not celebrate the racism was casual and pervasive, with some doubting whether black pilots would protect them in combat. What critics did not understand was that the 332nd could not afford normal mistakes. Any loss risked the entire program being shut down. So they embraced an escort philosophy unlike anything practiced at the time: no chasing kills, no glory hunting, no breaking formation for personal victory credits. Your job is to bring the bombers home. To reinforce this doctrine, they painted their entire tail assemblies bright red, not for decoration, but as a tactical declaration visible from miles away: the red tails are here. The bombers are protected, and the enemy would have to go through them. For bomber crews staring into empty sky at 25,000 feet, that visibility mattered. For German pilots, it meant they could not probe undefended angles without the red tails immediately seeing them. Mission after mission through early 1944, the 332nd proved their discipline worked, escorting B-24s and B-17s to some of the most dangerous targets in Europe with fewer losses than other groups. Not by racking up kill counts, but by never abandoning their bombers. Bomber crews noticed. Word spread informally over mess tables and briefing huts about the escorts, who never cut loose chasing glory, who stayed glued to formation, who shepherded wounded bombers all the way home. By June 1944, bomber crews were asking specifically for the red tails, not by unit number, but by color. Can we get those red tail boys? Their operations tempo surged as they were assigned the toughest deep-range missions: Vienna, Budapest, Ploesti, because they brought more bombers home. Their doctrine faced its ultimate test on March 24, 1945, when they were assigned escort duty on the 15th Air Force's first mission to Berlin, a 1,600-mile round trip through vicious flak and determined fighters, maintaining formation for over 6 hours, fighting off Mi-109s and FW-190s, and resisting every temptation to chase. The Red Tails brought every bomber to the target and back without a single aircraft lost to enemy fighters, a stunning achievement that validated their philosophy completely. By war's end, the 332nd flew over 15,000 sorties, earned 3 distinguished unit citations, 96 distinguished flying crosses, and proved through undeniable combat performance that segregation-era assumptions about black inferiority were lies. They had succeeded under worse conditions than white units, less support, older aircraft, constant scrutiny, and yet delivered the best escort record in the 15th Air Force. Their performance became exhibit in the case for desegregating the U.S. military, shaping the arguments that led to President Truman's Executive Order 9981 in 1948. In the skies over Europe, the Tuskegee Airmen had done more than protect bombers. They had shattered the foundation of segregation with results no one could deny, proving that opportunity, not race, determined excellence, and that courage, discipline, and integrity redraw the future of the United States Armed Forces.